Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again on the channel. I've got a bit of an apology to make to start with. I missed an upload last week. I wanted to upload once a week and I may have been a bit ambitious with that. It's actually a lot harder than what I thought it would be to get everything done. I work 6 days a week, and also just the toll on your bank account. Like when you're building a car just to, for yourself, you might have a deadline of a show that you want to take it to, something like that. But when you're trying to do something every week, I can understand why a lot of YouTubers do like a walk around kind of thing and show people what they've been up to and where the cars are going. So I'm going to do a walk around today. Hopefully that's okay. I have some parts which are turned up. Finally, the ECS Tuning spoiler turned up for the Mark IV Golf. Thank God, it only took like 6 weeks of hassling the company. There was meant to be a bonnet latch with it, an ECS bonnet latch, but apparently they're out of stock until September, October. So I cancelled that, and I'll just use cable ties because it's lightweight, and yeah, a Mark IV Golf could always go on a diet. So yeah, today I just thought I'll go round, I'll introduce like the cars that I've got that I'll be working on, what I've done to them, what I'd like to do to them, and just a general sort of walk around so you can kind of catch up and know where we're starting from. So the first one is the Mark II Golf. First up, sorry, I don't know what this is all about, but it just seems to happen. So yeah, first up is a Mark II Golf. Started off as a 16 valve originally. Previously, the owner swapped it to a VR6, and then the owner after that, I believe, swapped it to a supercharged VR6. So I was actually extremely lucky, and I won this car. It's funny for everyone that knows me that I've been into Mark II Golf since I was about 17. I'm going to turn 37 this year in July. So I had like 20 years of driving these old things. Absolutely love them. I don't know what it is about them. I just feel really connected to them. And yeah, so funny story is that when me and my wife a few years ago were looking to buy our first house, say a few years ago, so it would have been 2017. Christ, that's more than a few years ago now. I had a Mark II Golf which I had built over about 8 years, and it was a Calypso green one. Had a 20 valve turbo in it, and for that car, I thought this is going to be the last car which I build, and I just want to go all out on it, and ended up buying everything that I've always wanted on a Mark II Golf that I couldn't afford when I was 17. So it had all the cool stuff, like had some new old stock green tint Haptic pop-out windows, which I wish I'd kept. Had a new old stock Votech center console. What else did I have? The Mark II Golf leather Recaros, I had those retrimmed. Had door cards retrimmed by Dan at Lavish Automotive, with some Alcantara diamond stitch. I'll try and put some pictures in the video if I can, if I've still got some pictures of it. What else did I do? Yeah, had Stahl S2 16-inch split rims on it, and had a full respray. I'm sure there was other bits and pieces I'd done to it, but yeah, that's where I was at with that car. We were looking to buy our first house, like I said, and it was sitting there, and because I'd spent 8 years sort of putting time into it, I never really wanted to drive it anywhere. I was always too scared of like it getting damaged. So I ended up putting it up for sale, and someone came from Kent the next day and bought it. So there was no time to kind of like second guess it, and that helped us massively with our first deposit. But I always thought I'm going to have another Mark II Golf. So cut a long story short, this one came along. I think it went up on the site a couple of times and people took the cash. I don't know why they'd take the cash when you see like the level of how nice this was built, but I'm glad they did because it means that I got it. You'll have to excuse how dirty it is. It's currently not running. Unfortunately, in October, when I was driving home, engine light popped on. I killed it straight away, shut it off, just about to fall over a plant pot. Shut it off, shut the engine off, and all the oil decided to dump itself out of the exhaust, all at the back of the car. And this is where it's sat ever since. So I have a feeling it might be piston rings that have gone on it. I'm not a mechanic, but for me that's the only way it would go through the exhaust. It's supercharged, so I don't think it would have gone through that, but here we are. So the plan is, I have three options with this. One, there's a very nice VR6 turbo being sold at the moment at Mk2 Spares, and it's a little bit out of my price range. It would mean selling the VR6 and the supercharger out here, selling a couple of little parts just to fund it, and I think it was about 500 brake horsepower. So at the moment this is 286, and it's like it's brilliant, it's fun to drive. I don't know what it would be like with 500. So that's one option. Option two is get another 2.8 VR6 engine, put it in, tart it all up, make it look nice again, give it a good service, do the chains possibly, and run it with the supercharger. The only problem with it at the moment, because it's on OBD1, when you come off the accelerator, sorry, it cuts out unless you keep the revs up. I've got used to driving it now like that, but I think if ever like my friends had driven it, it might have caught them out a little bit. So there's that. The other option is I have the standard 201 brake horsepower 24 valve VR6 out of my other shell, not this VR6 but the other one that I'm taking all the parts off. So it would be down on power, but it would possibly be a bit more reliable and you wouldn't get the cutting out problem. But that's something which, you know, in future I can do as well, possibly just look at going on to OBD2 management. So yeah, it had had a full respray. I've come to find out from talking to the previous owner on Instagram that it's actually not Tornado Red, it's a BMW colour, but unfortunately couldn't quite remember what one it was. Yeah, it's on Meister R Zeta coilovers with the correct spring rates for the VR6 block. It's on Image Billet 11 16x8 square setup alloys. It is running a 2.8 VR6 with a Vortex V1 V1 supercharger with a smaller pulley. So the few things I've done to it are I had Bespoke here, awesome guy Mark. He wrapped it in the Marlboro livery. Always wanted to do a red Mark II in the Marlboro livery. It just suits it so well. And other things I've done, Davies Motorsports handles, door handles. They were all custom. I don't know if you can see, again, the little Motorsport logo in here. Again, please just ignore how dirty this is. It's sat here since October, since the engine went. So yeah, here's the interior. I believe these are from a Civic Type R, possibly. I'm not really a Honda guy, so I have seen similar looking seats in there, and like an Evo maybe as well. But it did come with a Monte Carlo steering wheel, really nice. I sold that though because I just saw this Momo Mod 7, and it's the black edition one, and I thought it just looks awesome. I love the dished sort of look to it. Probably look quite at home in a Porsche, I think. and all us guys who have VWs would all just love a Porsche, really, wouldn't we? So this is the interior at the moment. The seats have all been retrimmed. They've got Harris Tweed seats, TRS harnesses. Door cards have been done. I also had the I've also had the Davies Motorsports window winders there, and yeah, apart from that and the cage, it's a SWG Motorsports cage, and there's the AEM meth kit. So it's running AEM meth kit. Don't really know what else to show you on the outside. I'll show you the engine bay. So this is just the outside of it. Oh, I'll put the little lip spoiler on the back. So as for what I'd like to do is put an oval back box on there. It just looks a bit small. Now I've put this splitter on the back. This splitter is actually just a CL splitter, so they're quite easy to fit, and they just look pretty cool. It's like the old school low line kit, isn't it? You know what Maxton and TRC are things are doing now. So inside, I would just like to replace this with a CAE shifter. All Mark II Golfs, they're just a bit too low, the gear knob, and if I had a CAE shifter here, it's just easier, and I think it'd be more comfortable and just really fit in with the race car sort of aesthetic. So that's what the steering wheel looks like. Another thing I'd like to do is there is a company in Poland, I can't quite remember the name of them now, but they do what looks like a replica Lancia Integrale bonnet, carbon fibre, and they look awesome. So I'd love to get that done, swap this bonnet out for one of those. They are also quite pricey, so that is something which can be done at a later date. Probably should. Oh my god. Probably should concentrate on getting it fixed before I go and spend out on a carbon fibre bonnet for it. So when I replace this engine, I'm gonna look to just tidy it all up a little bit. It's really nice as it is, but I'd like to relocate the battery to the boot. I'd like to do a bit more of a wire tuck. It's pretty good, to be fair, as it is. I don't really know if I can tuck much more, but wire tuck and just smooth the bay out a little bit. If I can get rid of the rain tray, brilliant, and cover the airbox up, because I'll be totally honest, the heating is never great in a Mark II Golf, even when it does work. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I want to do on the Mark II. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, so for the Mark II, that's pretty much it. If I could get the CAE shifter bought and fitted, if I can replace the engine, I might keep the supercharger. It sounds awesome, and it's a little bit different to all like turbo builds and things like that. I'd like to get the centers of these painted gold, and possibly just bring it down a touch. I think the stance is pretty good as it is now, but if I could just get it maybe a little bit lower, that'd be cool too. So moving on to the Mark IV, I know a lot of you have watched the video of this. Thank you very much for that. It exceeded all my expectations. I was expecting like 2 people to watch it, and that was to be like my wife and my mum. So thank you very much for that. Let's dive into what needs to be done. So ECS Tuning spoiler finally turned up. I will probably get that in a minute and just show you. I'm not overly happy with it because the fitment, I don't know if it's meant to fit over a GTI spoiler. It didn't say that in the advert, but yeah, it just doesn't fit great. It's really gappy here. If you line it up on this bit, it's then not, you know, lining up on the back here. And then I'll tell you what, I'll go grab it. 2 seconds. So here it is. This is the spoiler. So don't worry about this, it's got a film on it which is there to protect it. So as you can see, to me that fitment is not great. So if you line it up on this edge here is then miles off. Like, I don't really like the look of that, and that is sitting pretty much where it would need to be. So for me that should be there. Well, for me that should be there really, but that's where that sits. And if we go to this end, like, that's overlapping, so it would have to be like that. I don't know, maybe I'm just being really picky. It wasn't overly expensive, it was like 120 quid, but I just expected a bit better. Well, did I? Because this spoiler is from ECS on the S5, and we'll get into that in a minute, but that isn't great either. But back to this, I really like the look of it. I think it looks really cool, and because I don't want to go like full R32 look on this, I thought it would be quite cool to get something a little bit different. It's got a nice little kick to it there. Try to get it, yeah. So, you know, it does look good. I'm happy with the look of it. I'm just not happy with the fitment of it. So, you know, it just seems too long. There we go. So that should be like that. It does look quite cool, a little kick, you know. Might have to just bite the bullet and get an R32 spoiler. But anyway, let's get back on with this. So, still waiting for the bumpers to be painted so I can get the R32 bumpers on there. The headlights are in, they're YouTube done, so I'll show you in a minute, but they need wiring in. My old shell ran xenon lights, so I'm hoping, seeing as my old shell ran xenon lights, I can just cut the loom, part of the loom, extend the wires and fit them on there. If not, I'll have to buy those adapters, the Coffertech adapters for the xenons. So the xenons need looking at, need to wire them in. Really struggling to find some genuine R32 skirts for the kit. I'm toying with the idea of getting just those ABS replicas. If anyone's bought any, please let me know what you think of them. Are they any good? Because I'd be really interested to know. Moving to the inside, so I still need to get the clock swapped over and the R32 clocks put in and wired up. I say wired up, sorry, I need to put the R32 clocks in and have the information from these ones put onto my R32 clocks. The horn, because it was a multimedia steering wheel, it doesn't work. There is apparently a way of getting into some little computer, which my friend was explaining to me, and I don't understand, but apparently that can be done, so that's great. Rest of the interior I'm really happy with. I will be changing over this headliner. I've got a black one in my other shell because this one's just starting to sag and it doesn't look very good, looking a bit sad and tired. Interior, possibly next year. I'd like to get these done in a caramel sort of tan, and that's it for the interior really. Everything else I'm really happy with this. So yeah, so for the Mark 4 Golf, it'll be a case of get the bumpers on, the R32 bumpers on. I'm in the middle of removing the BC coilovers and everything off my old shell to go onto this, so hopefully soon this will be slammed on its arse. I have bitten the bullet and bought SRS wide wings so I can run my Team Dynamic wheels. That is very much that. There will be a video coming out on this one very soon. I also got a plate for it which says R28 OAP, which I thought was quite cool. And last but not least, this bloody thing. So this is my daily. it's not a very sensible daily, but I can get my kayak on the roof. Hopefully going to take out my kayak for the first time this year soon. I need to just renew or need to renew a waterways license, but for the S5 generally it's just little niggly bits which need sorting now, so I'm just waiting on the wing to be painted so I can get this replaced. Little niggly bits like the spoiler again has started pinging up on the sides. It's ECS, right? But no one else really seems to have these problems, but it literally yeah, not very happy with it, but it looks really good when you see it sort of like that. So what else I have planned for this? Really, I'd like to get this sold, this carbon fiber rear diffuser. I'd like to get that sold and get an RS5 rear on the back, just mainly because on the S5 it cuts in so much like that, whereas on the RS5 it comes out like on the front bumper. It just looks a lot cooler and more aggressive, I think. So the interior is pretty much done to where I'm happy with it. I just want to get some carbon fiber trims for there, and I think it replaces that one as well. And then the S5 is basically done until I can afford to facelift it. So I'd love to facelift it. I think it looks really mean like this, but with the facelift where the headlights sort of nip up there, it just looks so much newer. But I'm really happy with how it looks now. I just think it could look a bit better. So yeah, so that's the S5. Not too much to do to that one. And these two. So that's a quick walk around them all. So thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next one, where hopefully I'll have a Mark 4 Golf update for you, and have a good week. See you later.